Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the new updated version of the Ashened deck, as well as my own style of how to lock out your opponent during his turn. Without further ado, let's get straight on into this build of mine. As usual, it is still 3 Vados, the Eruption Dragon of Destruction. Has the effect that, quick effect, you can target one field card on anybody's side of the field, special summon that to your opponent's side of the field, and then pop the field spell. Then, after that resolves, you can set or add to your hand one continuous trap card. And if this card is destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects, or actually I think it's just by any card effect. Let me double check on that. As if it's sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, you can destroy all cards on the field, which is still a pretty nice dark hole. But that also means you don't have to do it, because you can if you want to. Next up, we have the 3 Priests of the Ashen City, which, if Obsidian is on the field, meaning even if it's on your opponent's side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can only do it once per turn that way. During the main phase, if this card is normally special summoned, you can add to your hand one Ashen card. And you can only do that once per turn. Next up is one of the new cards, Shaman of the Ashen City. This card has the same effect as all of them. Special summon from your hand to the field if Obsidian is on the field. And this card is, you can target 3 Pyro monsters in your graveyard or it's banished and shuffle them back into the deck. And if you shuffle an Ashen card, you can add the field spell from your deck to your hand. So that's a nice way to recycle your monsters, as well as getting out a field spell if you need it in a hurry. Next, I run 2 Sphere Heads. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, you can tribute this card from the field, then target one card your opponent controls, and return it to the hand. So it's nice to just set a card back to your opponent's hand, and that's why I run 2, because sometimes you need to. Then, of course, 2 Kings has the effect that it can be special summoned from your hand with Ashened, and during the main phase of this card, when we're special summoned, you can special summon one Ashen monster from your hand, or if your opponent has a 2800 attack or more monster on their side of the field, special summon it from the deck. Next up is 2 Heroes. And this one has the effect, the quick effect, you can target one Pyro monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And if you destroyed Vados, you can add Obsidian from the deck to your hand. Or no, you can place it face up on the field. Okay, never mind. I've been playing that card all wrong for a while. Then, of course, to end the monsters is Hand Traps, is Ash Blossom, and Joel and Mockbird. And the reason why I run Joel, it's not really for the stopping the opponent too much with the not being able to search, is mainly for an extra deck monster, but you'll see later. Onto the spells, I run 3 Awaken the Vadas. This one you can place Obsidian on either side of the field. Then, if your opponent controls a field card on their side of the field, you can add Vados, the Ocean Dragon, from your deck to your hand. The only thing is, I don't know, and I don't know if anyone else knows yet. Let me know in the comment section down below if that can still be ashed. And if it does get ashed, does it stop you from being able to place Obsidian on the field? And of course, we're talking about Obsidian. I run 3 of those as well. During your turn, all monsters your opponent controls become Pyro monsters. If this card is destroyed or banished, you can special summon one Ashen monster from deck. And during the end phase, you can place an Obsidian that's in your graveyard to the bottom of the deck and then draw a card. Next up is the new cards, Rekindling the Ashened. Place one of your Ashen cards that is either banished or in your graveyard to the bottom of the main deck, except for this card, and then target one effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of this turn. I feel like 2 is enough, because I wanted to make a very good viable amount of cards for this deck without going over 40. So I also run 2 Extinguishing the Ashen. This one is a Foolish Burial, as well as a add from graveyard back to hand. You want to use this if you don't have Vados. You can search out Vados, send it to the graveyard, then add it back to your hand. And then You can also banish this card from your graveyard and future summon one Power Fusion monster from your extra deck using cards from your hand or field as material. Speaking of fusions, this is the best Super Poly deck I've run since Branded. So I have 3 Super Polys because you can use that as well to get into your Vedas Fusion monster or your Embers of the Ashened. And of course, one Called by the Grave. And that's it for the spells for this deck. Now onto the traps. The new trap card, Ashened Endlessness. During the main phase, you can fusion summon one Power Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either side of the field, including Veil's Eruption Dragon of Destruction, and if you do that, you gain 500 attack for every material used. And then, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and all monsters your opponent currently controls become Pyro until the end of the turn. Then, of course, Ashen for Eternity. When it's activated, you can add one of your Ashen monsters or Vados from your graveyard back to your hand. And then you can target Vados on your opponent's side of the field, snatch it back, and then all monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to that monster's attack. And let's see. That's all the effects for that. And now for the new spice that I decided to add because I found out there is ways to lock your opponent out from being able to do anything on their turn, unless, of course, they're running a Pyro deck as well. Deacaboo and Rivalry of the Warlords. And I will show you a test hand as to what I mean by this. And then, of course, the last traps will be Infinite Impermanence. Now to the extra deck. One Relinquish Anima. You could target one face-up monster this card points to and equip that card to this monster, and then it gains the attack and defense of that monster. Actually, no, I think it's just the attack. Of course, because it's a link monster, there's no defense. My bad, guys. Then, of course, one IP Masquerada. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can send this card any material on the field to the graveyard as link summon a monster using this monster and others as material. And then if it's used, your opponent cannot destroy it with card effects. And then, of course, one Hita for targeted for Ash. So it's really good to get your hands on this card as well as getting Ash out, so that way you can go into a Link 3. Let's say for Dark, for people who run Dark monsters in their graveyard, this would be a good way to get into your Link 3 as well. And of course, I don't have SP Little Knight. I don't plan to get SP Little Knight. Too expensive for my taste for an effect that's not as good as everyone makes it sound. So I'll just run Nightmare Unicorn. That's the effect that when this is Link Summon, discard one card from your hand, and return one card your opponent controls back to their deck, and if it was co-linked, you can also draw a card. And now since Baron DeFlora has been banned and Borderlands Savage Dragon's been banned, I have opted to run Appaloosa in the deck, because if you can use 4 monsters as material for this monster, that's 4 Omni Negates. And then, of course, Axis Code Talker, because there are so many monsters in this deck, it's not hard to special summon enough materials to get out Axis Code Talker. Has the effect that once per turn, target one Link monster in your graveyard. This card gains 1,000 attack for every Link number that you target. And then you can target another different Link monster with a different attribute, banish it, and then destroy one card on the field. And the best part is your opponent cannot negate the effects or activate any of their card effects in response to any of the activations. That's it for the links. I only run one Infernal Flame Banshee, which is attached material. You can search for a Pyro monster and either add to your hand or send it to the graveyard, but of course you're going to want to add to your hand. And I found that this is just a lot easier than running a bunch of bonfires, because it just makes the deck too bulky and it can be hit with Ash just as easily as Infernal Flame Banshee. And also because I didn't really know what else to add to the extra deck, so that's why I ran that instead of bonfires. That's it for the XCs though, and now on for the Super Polys. One Garura, Wings of Resonant Life. It needs 2 monsters with the same type and attribute, but different names. Any battle damage this opponent takes from battles with this monster is doubled, And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw a card. One Mud Dragon in a Swamp, which takes 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types. This one says that your opponent cannot target this card or monsters on the field with the same attribute as this card with card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can declare one attribute. This card's attribute becomes the rest as well. Whew. That's a lot of mouthful right there. Now on to the Predator Plants. I run 1 Dragocepalia. Has the quick effect to place a Predator counter on your opponent's card. Drop his levels down to, I believe, 1, and then negate his effects. And yeah, that's what that does. So yeah, it's nice to have that negate. And then also I run 1 Starving Phantom Fusion Dragon. If this card is Fusion Summon, you can make this card get attack equal to 1 opponent's special summon monster until the end of the turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes that monster's original name and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. If this Fusion Summon monster is destroyed, you can destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters. So there's another board wipe in the deck. Now on to the first ever extra deck for this Ashen build. We have 2 Embers of the Ashen. And I run 2 because it's easier to get out. And it has the effect that if this card is Fusion Summon, you can target 1 field spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. At the start of damage step, if this card battles an opponent's power monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. And if you do it in the turn this card, if you do it this turn, you can make a second attack in a row. So that's also good, having a second attack. And of course, the new baby, Vados, the Dragon of Endless Darkness. Cannot be destroyed by card effects, cannot be targeted by monster effects. And when this card is Fusion Summoned, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send 1 face-up Ashen card you control to the graveyard and destroy that card. Now, this doesn't stop Nibiru because it has to be on the field, but it's still having another pop. Like, yeah, you'll still get your effect unless there's something else I have. Maybe a quick play Rekindling the Ashen. But it's still nice that if you have the monster and you pop it off the field, then where are they really going to be at? Alright, now that's it for the main deck and the extra deck. Let me show you a few test hands that I have built. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. Alright, good. At least I opened up with 1 card, 2 cards that will definitely build the board that I was talking about. We'll start off by activating Awaken the Vados. Vados will search for Ashened and place it on either side of the field. So we'll say put it on the opponent's side of the field, and then you can add Vados the Russian Dragon of Destruction from deck to hand. We'll set this for later, and as well as this. Special Summon Priestess. Priestess will add a monster from your deck to your hand. So we'll grab, we'll just grab Hero for now. Special Summon Hero. And then, well, with that, we could probably do something else, but we'll wait for a different test hand. We'll go to the end phase, allow your opponent to draw a card. As he draws, goes to standby, quick effect Vados. Target the Ashened, and then chain, there could be only 1. Give them the Vados in defense, pop Ashened. Then Vados will allow you to either add to your hand or set a continuous trap, and we'll grab Ashen to Endlessness. Ashened was destroyed, so we will special summon just an additional monster. We'll special summon King. And then after that is all resolved, now the opponent has a monster in the field with there could be only one. So now they are locked in the Pyros, which is the board lock that I was talking about. Now you don't have to wait until your opponent's turn to do that, but just in case if they have it out to get your board wiped, or if they have a card that could be special summoned from their hand immediately by drawing it or anything like that, then they could work around your Vados, and then you could wind up logging them into that monster without giving them the Vados, because then you can't bring it out. But so far, I have tested this out on Dual Nexus, and I haven't had any problems with that direct build. And I've had a lot of people actually quit because they don't run Pyros or any way to get the back row off. I mean, some people have had Cosmic Cyclone, they've had Harpy's Feather Duster, MST. But for the most part, a lot of people don't like this because then they're stuck in that. And then also on their end phase, actually, no, on your main phase, let's see, draw a card. Activate Ashened Endlessness, take all the monsters off the field. Bring out your new boss monster because you use Vados as the fusion material. With the 4 materials right there is 5,000 attack points. And then, of course, you can blow up the opponent's back row. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Can't be targeted by monster effects. And, yeah. Add off the Deem. You could pretty much give them Vados again. Use the effect to set another trap. Pop the off the Deem after this set. Special summon. Let's see. Hero. Use Hero to destroy Vados. Actually, no. Use Hero and Vados with Ashened for Endlessness on your turn. Grab out Embers of the Ashen, and then right there you can just go for game. That's one build. The only downside is a lot of these cards do lock you into Pyro summons, so if you're trying to get out Access Code Talker, that's more of a want to do before you do anything else kind of thing. So let's see if we can get that out. Alrighty. Well, it is very hard to get with that. I feel like that's more of a go second kind of thing. This deck can go second, but I feel like if you want the build that I have, you definitely want to try and go first and hope that you open with one of those cards. It's not always a guarantee, but you still have a lot of outs like Super Poly, Rekindling, Infernal Jewel. Like, you have at least a lot of negates on the field. And my favorite people to go up against with this deck is actually the Fire King. Give them the Vados, target the Fire King Island. As long as they don't have the Fire King Sanctuary on the field, they ain't really stopping the effect of Vados too well. But all in all, this could be a very good Tier 1 deck, and without Bonfire or even the Kash in there, I see a lot of people talking about Branded. And I think there's even a Fire King Ashen build somewhere out there I've heard about. Let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Would you run this? Thank you for joining me for this video, and I hope you all have a good day. I'll see you on the next video.